What's up, guys? Chris Brown from Train Boston coming at you with another wellness moment. Today, I want to talk to you guys about resolutions, resolve, and behaviors. It's the second week of January already, which means it's just about time where people start giving up on their New Year's resolutions. Yes, studies show that about 20% of people have already given up on their resolutions by this time. Hopefully, that isn't you, but I just wanted to take the time to discuss why this happens and how we can be better at fulfilling our resolutions, whether they're in the New Year's or any other time. First, let's define a few things. What's a resolution? Well, it's the decision to do or not to do something. It's binary. You either want to do it or you don't. Want doesn't actually make anything happen, but stating your intent can be useful. It has been shown that you are more likely to complete a goal if you write it down. Telling those around you what your resolution is only helps if they will hold you accountable and will be supportive of you. So don't just shout it out to random people or just post it on Facebook. Make sure you tell people that actually matter. Resolve. Well, resolve is a determination to do something, otherwise known as willpower. That's probably how it's more commonly known. Many people believe that willpower is a finite resource. Some people believe that it isn't necessarily a resource, but what I believe is somewhere in between. What we do know is willpower is directly affected by both internal and external factors. Some of these factors can be how much you've already used your willpower, how supportive those are around you at home, work, etc., people you interact with daily. Whether your goal or your resolution has high or low stakes associated with it. And are you being guided, and is there a clear path for you to take and complete the action? But we all know those people who tend to have high levels of willpower in one part of their life, but they still fail at their resolutions. Half their goals or some of their goals you see, they just don't get there. Even though they're very successful in some ways, maybe they don't eat junk food ever. Maybe they always go to the gym. They can still fail in other ways. Well, why does this happen? Well, let's talk about a few things that can directly affect this. One of the biggest things, one of the chain links of wellness, is sleep quality. You probably heard, are you sleepy? Have you had your coffee for the day? A lot of people say, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. That just means they're tired. Well, the quality of your sleep helps ensure adequate replenishment of fuel for our brains, and it helps us process our challenging emotions. A study by Albrecht and Freud showed the circadian system influences many daily functions such as timing of sleep cycles, body temperature, arousal, and hormone secretion. It also found the circadian rhythms also influence food processing and glucose metabolism. That means you're going to be inefficient with your energy for your body, specifically to your brain, if you're not getting good sleep. And if your brain's not feeling good, you're probably not making the right decisions. There's also another system in our brain called the glymphatic system. It sounds like lymphatic system, which is our body's way of getting rid of waste, because it's essentially just the lymph for the brain. It only functions properly when we go through full sleep cycles. We need to get to those deep levels of sleep. This waste removal system helps allocate glucose, lipids, and hormones in our brains. With disruption in the system, we may not be able to fully process emotions and trauma, leading to lower willpower and lowering our ability to adapt to novel stimulus. A study by Ribeiro in 2012 said this can improve our immune system and increase our well-being and longevity, meaning living longer and feeling better. Another aspect of our wellness that's very important for willpower is social support. How supportive are those around you at home, at work, etc.? The internet can be part of this, but it can be very muddy. It can be good and bad and everywhere in between. So I like to tell people to focus on what's right in front of you. A study by Uchino in 2009 showed social support has been associated with not only the ability to manage and reduce stress, but also to lower the overall perception of stress. So you can see this as either perceived support available or actual received support. Perceived support allows individuals to believe they can do things themselves. Received support, actual received support, can lead to a sense of always needing others, resulting in a lower sense of self-worth. A study by Cohen and Wills in 1985 and Hefner and Eisenberg in 2009 showed that individuals can be supported before, during, and after any stressful event through many different mechanisms, including esteem support, information support, companionship support, or instrumental support. So there's a lot of different ways people can help you. They can make you feel better. They can give you information about your problems. They can just literally be there for you, or they can give you other tools to take care of yourself. But at the end of the day, this might be why, if you consider yourself an introvert, you spend a lot of time alone, you may struggle a little more with self-control. That may mean you need a little bit of help. So don't fear asking for that help, what I like to call the emotional spotter. The next one is physiological state number 1, your blood glucose levels. Everybody knows if you're hangry, you're not doing well, you're not making good decisions. You tend to be more irritable, more distracted, but there's more to it. One study even showed that individuals are more likely to lie when hungry. A study showed that compared to lean individuals, obese subjects had a harder time to refrain from lying when the underlying motivation was avoiding a bad outcome, regardless of their current energetic state. The study took people and told them to tell the scientists whether there was a red, yellow, or green coin under the cup. Each coin would lead to them getting money. When the coins were higher, worth more money, people would all lie more. But people who were hungry, who hadn't gotten fed yet by the study, they were a lot more likely to lie. So unsurprisingly, people would lie a lot more when they could get more out of it, but everyone lied more when hungry. And people who are on leaner, probably maybe even dieting, they tended to lie the most when they were hungry. They were hangry. So the thing is, the takeaway from this is, if you're hungry, you're more likely to lie. You're more likely to make bad decisions. And another study even showed that people are more willing to accept ethical and moral injustices when hungry. They could see someone doing something bad to someone else and be like, you know what, I'm hungry, I don't care. And that's probably not surprising to you. So don't make decisions while hungry. Keeping yourself sated helps you succeed. The other physiological state I want to talk about is your pain. So your willpower is lower when you are in pain. If you're in a state of pain, your body is chronically in a sympathetic state, meaning your nervous system's always taxed and inflammation is always high. Cortisol hormone, while good, is a problem when consistently elevated, which can lead to other health issues. One study showed that there's a high correlation between pain, both physical and otherwise, and your emotional state, which I said earlier, it seems to affect your ability to make rational decisions and how much willpower you have left. In the very least, pain is distracting. Take care of your pain. Don't ignore it. No one can hold out forever. If you need to see a doctor, see a therapist, or speak to a psychologist who can make your emotional pain better, do it. You can't hold out forever, and you're going to be failing or more likely to fail at your goals and resolutions because of it. And the last one I want to talk about is a lack of engagement with your goals or resolutions. This can affect your willpower to complete these goals or resolutions. So the process and the journey towards your goal, it has to be interactive, engaging as much as possible. It can't be too easy, it can't be too hard, but it needs to be something you got to go in between. You got to always be putting your hands on it, and it's got to be something you see day in and day out. Motivational factors can substantially affect people's ability to recruit their cognitive resources towards sustaining learning over time. So if you're learning a new task, for instance, and you don't do it very often, or there's no challenge to it, or nobody around you seems to care about it, you're probably not going to have an easy time learning that task. Think about learning a new language when there's no one around you who speaks that language, and you're not seeing it on TV or Facebook or the internet. You're probably really going to struggle with it. So what do we need to do to work on this? Obviously, the chain links of wellness were all stated in there, but how can we increase the odds of our resolution becoming a reality? Well, let's talk about a well-known analogy. A rider on the elephant on a path. So the rider and the elephant and the path represent your rational brain, the rider, your emotional brain, the elephant, and the external environment, the path that the elephant's walking on. I'm going to post some links to that so you can just hear about it quickly later on if you like. The rider is rational but can't physically make the elephant do anything without proper motivation and guidance. The elephant's too big. Without emotion, the rider often doesn't make decisions or makes them too slowly. So it needs help getting across this path. When the path is obstructed, not only can the elephant not pass easily, but the elephant's willpower goes down and it doesn't even want to try. For instance, you can become distracted at the gym, or you can be by all kinds of things. Technology, people around you, music you don't like, a bad smell. When you're at home, sometimes you don't want to work out because there's laundry to do, or you might need to do work, or there's a Zoom call, or your kids. When you're trying to eat well and there's snack foods everywhere, you're probably being super distracted by that all the time. It's very difficult. So let's talk about constructing a path while thinking about the rider and the elephant as well. A SMART goal, S-M-A-R-T, does a good job of creating the solid path with a defined direction. It minimizes distractions and reins in irrational emotions. So we're going to talk about this quickly because I've talked about it before, but first you want to have a specific to you goal. You cannot be vague with your goals. Telling the elephant to head north won't always get them to the right area. It needs to be measurable. Our brains need motivation via success along the way. If you don't measure things, you never know how far along you are towards the goal. You don't know when to reward the elephant with a pat on the head or a treat. It's hard to stay motivated without these things. The goal must be actually attainable. No matter how much the elephant loves the rider, if the goal is for him to fly somewhere or to finish a trip in 10 seconds, it just won't happen and you will fail. The goal has to be relevant. The task needs to be something relevant to you. If it isn't something you personally care about, isn't something that you become engaged with, or challenges you or thrills you, it will be very easy to give that up. And it needs to have a time factor to it. Nothing ever gets done when there's no time restraint. That's pretty simple. Once we get that goal that fits all these things, how do we sort it out? Well, we need a series of behaviors that will lead to your resolution. Behaviors are who you are. Everybody is basically just a series of small behaviors. I wake up at this time. I do this when I wake up. I do this when I get ready for work, etc., etc. These will provide the stepping stones to keep you motivated on your path, and they'll keep your elephant's attention, so to speak. We need small successes that will keep the elephant happy and wanting to keep move forward. If the elephant doesn't want to, eventually the whole thing grinds to a halt. And these successes need to be engaging and challenging enough continually over time to keep you on task. We need to limit distractions like junk food, peers who goad you into bad behaviors, other mediums that make you want to do things besides maybe work out or sleep well. You can think of TV, video games, social media. And we need support along the way in form of friends or peers, hopefully working towards the same or similar goals. We need to be consistent in achieving these behaviors, writing them down and telling people about them. And finally, we need to not fear failure. Our goals should give us direction, but they don't always need to be endpoints. Failure is just the ability to start over again with more knowledge. Use that for another stepping stone, maybe to adjust your goals and behaviors. I don't want to put goals or behaviors in your mind because ultimately that's up to you. But my suggestion is to start with small behavioral changes productive towards your goal or resolution. If you have a good SMART goal, this will always lead you to where you need to be, regardless of whether it's exactly where you thought you needed to be or not. It will be difficult, but in the end, if all these things line up, your behaviors will be consistent and you'll get where you need to be. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you can create a new resolution, new behavior if you're struggling with your current one. Until next time, be well. Thank you very much.